All right, guys, happy May 22nd, coming to you full of excitement, full of gratitude, and feeling a little sentimental on this beautiful, beautiful Wednesday morning. So Silas has his graduation on Friday, and as a parent, you guys see these milestones in your kid's life, and this is his first year in school, kindergarten. They're walking to the boathouse right now. He put on his new big boy shoes, and just like seeing how he's growing up so fast, but like how smart he is and how caring he is. And I don't know, it's just really special. I usually take him to school every single morning, but mom is home for the week because my wife landed a new job at Livermore Labs. And so she's taking this week off. And so just feeling really grateful, really sentimental, and it's exciting. When I think about my life, one of the best things that's ever happened to me is being able to be a father. And so I'm super, super grateful, feeling a little bit sentimental this morning. So let's get right into the conversation. As always, I'm going to have somebody bring us out on the field. And if you're new to this group, this is Keep It Moving. Keep it moving towards your dreams, goals, and vision. This is about the collective wisdom, tapping into each other, sharing in this community, make sure that we leave here better than what we stepped into this room. And so as always, I'm going to have someone bring us out on the field in true Keep It Moving fashion. And I'm looking around. I'm going to pick somebody that has their camera on only to be able to do this because these are recorded. So Otis looks like he just got back from the gym, or he's going to the gym, or he's ready for something. So Otis, I'm going to have you bring us out on the field and tell us your sentiment. What do we need to hear today? Let's go.
Yes, I just got back. It was abs. Stomach is on fire right now. Shoulders are a little tight, but it's Wednesday. It's hump day. I've been getting on people's lines all week long, including my own. So look in the mirror, look at yourself, and tell yourself you're not doing that much. Because if you are, then you wouldn't have to have any worries. This is the perfect day to look in that bag and see what you got to finish emptying out of that bag to get to the end of the week. Sometimes people like to say that our week starts on the weekends. Mine starts every fucking day I wake up. I do about 10,000 things a day. Sometimes I forget. So my thing is look and pay attention to the things that you're forgetting, because those might be the things that get you to the finish line. So amp that shit up. No excuses. My whole thing right now is no excuses. There's no excuse to nothing. So if you got an excuse, get your ass off this call and go make sure that you have no more excuses when you get back on it.
All right. And that's it, you guys. Thanks for coming to Keep It Moving. And here's the thing. You're speaking my love language. You know what a love language of mine is? No excuses. What burns inside of me is when people give me excuses. And it's actually in direct alignment with how I wanted to start the call today. We'll get into the market update in a couple minutes. I have some things lined up, but I also want to really, really hear from you guys. I want to hear your vantage point on what's happening in the market. But I watched a video earlier today, and in the video, it stated, it's not what you're capable of doing, because I look around on this call on both screens, and there's tons of talent on this call. And it's not about the talent. Each of you have talent in your own regard, and it's not the talent. And it says here that it's not what you're capable of doing, it's what you are willing to do, right? It's what you're willing to do. And it goes in direct alignment with what Otis said. You all have the talent, you all have the ability, you all have the strength, you all have the courage, but it's what I'm willing to actually do with these talents. Because you could have all the talent in the world and not do anything with it because you were not willing to step up and step forward in this business. And so, Otis, I really appreciate that. It's in direct alignment with what I just wrote. And so I guess the question for you as we start out today's session is, what are you willing to do? Right? What are you willing to do in order to have the life that you said that you want to have for your family? And I'll leave you with go ahead. Was that something else? Sorry, I heard something. Oh, okay. All right. So what are you willing to do? I'm going to pull up my screen right now. I created a quick slide deck for you guys. I want to go into this really quick. Feel free to take notes, screenshots of this, and we'll get right into this. But what are you willing to do? And it's kind of the theme of today's messaging. So gaining an edge, and we're going to continuously talk about this, but I'm going to go over to Mel. Mel, if you can you read this quote for me? And by the way, the blowout's working for you. Love what they're doing for you.
Thank you.
Is that right? Did I say it right? Is it a blowout?
No, I'm actually blonde now, but
Okay.
thank you for noticing that something different happened with my hair.
Let's go, Mel. Let's go. All right. So go ahead and read this quote.
All right, you guys, it takes a lot of hard work to make something simple, to truly understand the underlying challenges and come up with elegant solutions.
Steve Jobs. All right. So Mel, we're talking about the market today. Obviously, we are in the business of executing amazing presentations. Why do you think I put this on here? And what does this mean to you? And how do you correlate this to what we do with our buyers and sellers?
Man, I think, our market is a very volatile market. I think that it's always changing, and there's so many microclimates across the Bay Area that the market really is constantly changing day by day. And if we want to help our clients at the highest level to actually be able to purchase a home or sell a home, then we need to be able to pivot as quickly as the market is pivoting and somehow try to stay a few steps ahead. So it takes a lot of hard work to make something simple, you know, like getting your buyers into contract. I just wrote an offer on a Montclair listing the other day, and it went almost $200,000 over asking, right? So my clients and I had to come up with an elegant solution to understand what our challenges were, what the market was, what had changed recently, and to be able to use the data to be able to create a solution for them, which is ultimately get their offer accepted and get them the home. So that's what that quote means to me.
I love it. I love it. And here's the thing, you guys, we all have a responsibility. It is not the consumer's responsibility to decipher all of the information about the market. We're trying to decipher what it means when you're explaining contingencies and months of inventory and all these things and comps. Like, they just don't know these words like we know these words. So our responsibility when we're discussing the market, when we're discussing the process, is how can I simplify this in a way, in layman's terms, that anybody can understand? Can I be at a bar at an airport 12 minutes before my flight takes off and explain the market in a very, very simple way? So we take all the complexities, and what we do is we simplify the messaging to a consumer, because here's why. The moment that we make it up to them to decipher all that and to think, what happens is that their stress levels going up, because they don't have somebody like a Mel, an Otis, a Natalie to explain in very simple terms what's going on. So what happens is that they're deciphering all this information because we think that they get it. And most people don't. That's why they hire a realtor. So what we need to do is find ways to make the presentation very elegant in a way that anybody can understand. When you're talking about the market, you want to make sure that you can flow in a way that people receive that information and it's very easy to understand. Don't complicate things, simplify it. There's a lot of complexities in this game, and we have to do our best to really, really clarify and give people an interpretation of the data, of the market, of the circumstances, so on and so forth. So really great stuff, Mel. I appreciate you sharing. And yeah, the hair looks great. Hope Costa likes it. So good stuff. So let's do this. Let's go right into your daily plan, and then we're going to get right into the market. So what I want you to do is I want you to, first and foremost, go now to Amazon, and I want you to buy this book, The Ultimate Sales Machine. As you guys know, I am a junkie for reading, and I will always give you recommendations on books. Now, I also want you to get this book, Die with Zero, but I got it in some weird language. I can't read it, so I have to get that in English. But two books that I want you to read, and let's go right into this. I want you to ask yourself, and I want you to evaluate yourself right now. And what I want you to do is ask yourself, throughout your day, how much of your day is spent being proactive versus reactive? And when we think about proactive are things that are moving your business forward, right? That's the prospecting calls, that's your open house list, that's making sure that you're going through your Real Scout, making sure that you know exactly what people are looking at, so on and so forth, right? The proactive is, I need to book some appointments. The reactive are the things that are happening within your transaction. And I get that, but if you're not in transaction, then there's no reason that you should not be working in the proactive. The reactive is, I have my emails that I need to follow up with. I need to do some stuff for my association, whatever that looks like. So you have to look at your schedule right now and say, how much of my time is proactive versus reactive? And I'm going to be real with everybody. If you're in contract right now, being in contract is not an excuse for you not to prospect. And I'm going to keep that very real with everybody. Because what happens is if you evaluate how much time you're spending in that actual transaction, and I get it, there's fires, there's negotiations, but there should be no reason within 30 days you didn't spend any time prospecting because you were dealing with one contract. There's people out there that are managing 10 contracts and they're still finding time to prospect. So you have to look at this and say, you know what? How much of my time is proactive versus reactive? And let's continue on. Feel free to take notes here, take a picture of this, write this down. Where do you put your most important task for the day? At the beginning, in the middle, or at the end? And I really want you guys to get clear with that answer, because what happens is that we're not, and I've seen this time and time again, we're not putting the most important things where they need to be. What I mean is, where is my energy level going to be at the peak, right? Is it right in the morning? Is it 4 to 6? Like, when is the time where I need to be doing the most important task? Or am I spending my morning time clearing out my inbox, doing all my admin tasks, and I'm waiting till the last minute when I barely have any energy, and now my kids are home, and now they need food, and now my husband's home, now my wife is home, and now I didn't get to what was the most important thing in my business, which was prospecting. And so I want you guys to really, really look at how you're scheduling your time, your effort, your energy every single day, and how you're allocating your energy. Because it's a different energy of following up. It's a different energy through prospecting. It's a different energy of negotiation. So you have to make sure that these things are prioritized. If not, you're going to fucking burn out. And you're about to get into one of the busiest seasons that we've had throughout the summer and into fall. It's going to be busy. So you need to ask yourself, when am I doing the most important things in my day? Is it in the beginning, middle, or at the end of the day? And you have to really evaluate that. My peak times are in the morning time. That's my peak times, but I'll give you some examples in just a minute. What I want you to do is, whether it's now or you come back to this, what I want you to do is I want you to write down all of your priorities in your business, right? Is it coaching? Is it admin time? Is it obviously prospecting and lead generation? Is it networking? Like, is it going to the office? What does that actually look like for you? And I want you to write down your priorities. Then what I want you to do is I want you to go to your calendar, and I just want you to do that simple exercise. And the reason why we're talking about this again is because oftentimes what I know to be priority in my life and in my business is not reflected on my schedule. So anything can interrupt me. I can get pulled in any direction. Oh, we're going to go 2 hours for a lunch. Well, shit, I didn't do any. Well, now I got to go. I got other things to do, right? You have to look at all of your priorities, reflect back on your calendar, be like, damn, okay, there's some things that I need to put on there because I know that this is going to impact my life, my business, and my health. Make sense so far, you guys? You with me so far? Any thoughts, contributions before we go to the next slide? Thanks, Mel, with the big old thumb. I appreciate that. Did you cut the sleeves off of a Play Bigger shirt? Okay. All right, big dog. All right, cool. As long as you guys are with me so far, if you need me to slow down, stop me at any time, but let's keep cruising on. Here's what I want you to get very, very clear on, and I am going to ask you guys to share and take yourself off the mute on this one. Today, I'm going to do, insert that task there, whatever that is for you, even though I don't want to, right? Today, I'm going to make 3 videos, even though I don't want to. Today, I'm going to knock on 100 doors, even though I don't want to. Today, I'm going to record myself doing a buyer's consultation, even though I don't want to, because I hate the way that I sound, right? Today, I'm going to read 50 pages by the time that I go to sleep, even though I don't want to. Today, I'm going to call that tough client that's been on the fence for months, that's searching out a 300,000 price point, that there's nothing that really fits into their opportunities. But I'm going to call that person. I'm going to have a logical conversation with them. So today, I'm going to do whatever that task is, even though I don't want to. Get clear on that. And I want you guys to write that down, because in a moment, I'm going to come to you. And I want you guys to volunteer to get on the mic and share what that one thing is that you're willing to do, even though you don't want to. Because remember, you're all capable of this, but it's, what are you willing to do? What are you willing to do? Nicole Penland, you had your hand up right away. So let's go to you before I can continue on.
I just want to say what I was going to do today, even though I don't want to.
All right, then let's go. Let's go. I appreciate you guys throwing your hands up. Let's go.
I was going to say today I am going to get ready for my open house weekend, and I'm on my way to an appraisal and to renew my driver's license because today is my birthday. Even though I would love to be in a massage chair and getting my toes painted and all that fun stuff all day today, I'm going to be productive because it's a Wednesday.
All right. Well, let's throw some emojis on the screen. Let's send some love, some light, some positive energy, and happy birthday to you. And so I love that. I absolutely love it. All right. So let's continue cruising on. We'll go Mel, then we'll go Just Bling. You'll be on deck. And then we'll keep cruising through the conversation. I got some stuff lined up for you. So Mel, today I'm going to do, insert that there, even though I do not want to.
Today, I'm going to record 3 videos for social media, even though I don't want to.
Awesome. And let me ask you this. You're good on video. You have a good flow. You've been doing this for some time. Why don't you want to?
You know, it's really funny because this just got brought to my attention. Like, I'm very consciously aware of it now. I feel like I knew it before subconsciously, but like people are literally asking me this same question now, which is, you're confident on camera, you clearly like to speak, you're good at it, and people can learn from you. Why don't you do it more? And honestly, it's, I hate the sound of my voice. I have fear of failure, and I deal with major imposter syndrome, major, like on another level. And I think it's something that I really need to work on because I think I actually can help a lot of people. I just have to get out of my own way in order to serve at a higher level. So that's why I don't do a lot of video.
You know what? I appreciate that sentiment. And here's the thing, you guys, we're not chasing viral, right? We're not chasing the vanity. If your video gets low engagement, but it helps and serves one person, then we've done our job correctly, right? And I love that. And here's the thing that you can't front on. You can't front on being a mom. You can't front on going through struggles in life, health, and business, and relationships, and family, and loss, and all those things. You can't front on putting together all the things that you've put together over the last couple of years. You can't front on the reading that you do, on getting ready for summertime days with Adonis and your husband. Like, those are things that you can't front on, right? So when you're thinking about imposter syndrome, stay in your lane. Stay in the lane of what you know to be Mel and what really represents you in your life. All the other stuff will come. All the other stuff will come. And if you're not reading, if you're not educating, you're not out previewing homes, people will see that stuff. There'll be a disconnect, but you stay directly in your lane and do what Mel does great. And I promise you, you're going to continue to grow, and people are going to continuously ask you, give me more, give me more, give me more. So I appreciate you, Mel. Let's go to Just Bling. What's the one thing? Let's hear from you. And thanks for your contribution, Mel. Thank you, Nicole. Let's go, Just Bling.
I am doing, and I shouldn't say dreaded because there's a lot of money and opportunity in there, but I've had a really in-depth conversation with my coach, and I am dialing my database 3 days a week, 15 people a day, every quarter. And yesterday I did it. My armpit started sweating and I got hella nervous. And I'm like, what the fuck are you nervous for? You know these people, but it's just a mundane task and I hate it, but I got to do it.
That's right. Because listen, if you are not working your database, somebody else is.
Yes. And ain't nobody dating my clients but me, okay?
Hey, listen, if you're not working that database, somebody else is going to be calling them. So I appreciate you saying that, because sometimes these people just are not loyal. They're just not loyal. So I appreciate that. Let's go over to consumer outreach. As you guys are doing your outreach this weekend, as you're following up with consumers, as you're looking at your open house list, if you're looking at ways to follow up with them, I want you to really evaluate that. If somebody's looking in Hercules, if somebody's looking at Walnut Creek, if somebody's looking in Sacramento, I really want you to make some type of personal connection based on things that you're reading and seeing and things that are happening in our industry. So here's some thoughts for you guys for consumer reach out. So I saw this and thought of you. Hey, I saw this and thought about you. They do music in the park in Brentwood every other whatever. And I thought it would be great, since you and the family are thinking about moving to Brentwood, you might want to check music in the park out. Well, cool, Mel. It's not like, hey, I'm sending you this property, but I mean, that's one conversation, but it's like, wow, this person is like looking out for me about what my lifestyle may be like. And let me get a sample of that because I know that we're in the mix right now. And we're looking at homes in this area. I saw this and I thought of you. I saw this home and thought of you, and here's why, right? When you think about this, you want to make sure that they know that we're truly, truly engaged with what they're looking at. We're thinking about them, and we're thinking about them in a very unique way. I saw this community event and I wanted to share this with you. This is a great way for you to get involved, talk to people that are in your community. I saw this article and I thought of you. And right now, my hope is that you guys are already thinking about this, like, wow, there's a city planning meeting that's happening in Hayward, or there's a farmer's market that's happening in a neighborhood that I know that this client's been searching, or there's a cool musical event, or there was just something funny that I saw. There's something happening in the Bay Area, whatever it is. For example, who would have thought that they were showing the Selena movie in Dolores Park on a big ass giant screen? look at Just Blink. Like, hey,
What's
huh,
that?
I don't know. So exactly her reaction is the reaction from that you could potentially have from a consumer. And what I mean by that is that, hey, Tom, hey, Susie, I saw this and I thought about you. How cool would this be for you and the family? Hey, let me know if you go. I might meet you there. I'll buy you a drink. That is so personal, you guys. So stop with the checking in. Just wanted to touch base. No, hey, I saw this. I thought about you. Thought it'd be good for you and your family. Any thoughts? Any contributions? Any additional plugs on this? Anybody want to share anything? I see people nodding their head. Good stuff. Anybody else want to share, contribute to the conversation? No, we good? Christina Montiel, let's go to you.
Good morning, family. Very, very true, because I used this a couple times saying like, hey, I've been thinking about you and I just saw this, and it happened that I saw something, and the people feel like they are so important, like, oh my gosh, you're taking the time to think about me. And then we start talking and then we get on the phone. So very positive when I use those prompts instead of, hey, I'm checking in on you. People don't respond. So I got good response with that.
All right, here's the thing I want everyone to do and never do again. Stop checking in with your clients and stop telling them, let me know. Just stop it. Because what we have to do is we have to say, how can I move this conversation to a personal conversation? How can I move it closer to the bottom of the funnel, right? I'm auditing this call because I'm not just gonna be like, oh, I'm sending you this article because I saw it and I'm thinking about you. Like, it's such a personal message. So when you're auditing your calls for the day, like, okay, what is something that I could send to them? Or what's a property that might be unique to the things that they're looking at? And have an actual real conversation versus just checking in. Hey, did you see anything you like this week? No, well, let me know. It's weak. It's weak, and we all can do better than that. So great stuff, Christina. Love it. Appreciate you. And hey, Christina's writing an offer right now. She's got a client that's been out searching. She's an older woman that needs a little bit more patience, a little bit more hand holding. So let's send her positive energy and positive vibes because she's so close to getting the contract. So let's go, Cynthia Peterson. Aaron, Chris, you're on deck, and then Haroon, you will be after Aaron. Let's go, Cynthia.
So I want to add a yes and to the community events. It's fun and easy, in my opinion, to find these community events for our clients. So what you can do is set aside, well, let me start over. What I do is I set aside a couple hours each quarter to look and see what's happening in downtown Martinez. And then I put that in a MailChimp email. It's really like a fun email. There's at least 10 events on the emails. And then I send that out to my clients on MailChimp. But then at the beginning of each month, I also look and see what's on the calendar. And then I pick out, oh, yes, that's happening. It's a family event. So then I send it directly to them that way. So you can kind of feed two birds with one stone and go in and look and see what's happening, put it in MailChimp, and then also hit them with it again. And also, there's a really, really, really great book, and it goes to what we're talking about today. It's called Ninja Selling. And it's essentially like taking in, oh yeah, feed two birds with
Hold
one
on, I can
stone.
stop the thing. I'm like,
Yes.
the birds love scone.
Yeah, because I don't like kill two birds with one stone. I think that's so mean. Feed two birds with one scone.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm
love
just making sure I heard you right. I was like, wait a minute.
yes. Yes. Also, we don't skin a cat, we dress a cat. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Ninja Selling is such a great book. It goes into yes, talking to our clients, how we talk to our clients. It talks about the Ford questions: family, occupation, recreation, and dreams, and how we bring those up in conversations with our clients so that we don't feel robotic to them when we're talking to them, right? So I highly, highly, highly suggest that book if you guys haven't read it yet. It's Ninja Selling by Larry Kendall. And it also has really good ways of hyping yourself up when you might not feel like you're up.
That's right. It's one of the best books out there. It's one
So
of the
good.
best books. Like, we all have a responsibility to be great salespeople, and all that means is great communication, asking great questions, and being able to connect at a very, very high level, but then controlling what's happening between your ears, right? Somebody, my early mentor said, this game is 90% mental. And I said, what's the other percent? That it's mental. It's like, it's 100% mental. So we got to control what's between these ears. And so I appreciate you sharing that. And I love the rewording, right? I've never liked the two birds with one stone. I've never liked that, but love that. Great stuff, Cynthia. Let's go, Aaron. Chris, you're on deck, and then Haroon. We'll get right into the market conversation. You guys, thank you for your contributions at a very high level. Appreciate you. Let's go, Aaron Crisp. And bro, I got that same plant. Okay, listen, I don't know the name. I think yeah. Get that plant for your house. If you're not a plant person, that plant is easy to take care of. I think it's a Monstera or of the Monstera family. That plant is flourishing with just a little bit of sunlight. Once a week, you fertilize it, it's flourishing. But anyways, go on.
Well, and to add on that, when you cut it back, just put it in water and you have a whole new one. So they are extremely good plants to take care of. But to what you brought up about this, it has been lately been extremely painful for me to like reply to a customer, hey, I'm just checking in. So I've been actively like doing I saw what you thought, I saw this and thought of you. Those other ones are great. I really like that and appreciate you sharing that, because I was feeling like I saw this and thought of you was getting a little stale in my communication with my buyers. But I do like this because it was painful. Every time I was like, I'm just checking in, I was like rewriting that first sentence like 50 times. And then that's when I got to this. I saw this and thought of you. And now I'm actively like looking for things so I can talk to people about it. And it's just keeping me more engaged. And then the other part that you brought up that I've been struggling with or thinking about is like, let me know, like, how do I re-engage them? And so I've been kind of, especially with the staler people, like, hey, I hope you haven't lost interest. Like, call me so we can talk about your goals and buying a house, and we can revisit that, just to try to keep them engaged. Because like you were saying, that just checking in and let me know, it just seems so stale. And when you're not getting any responses from it, it really is like, this is not working. So having these extra prompts or things to talk about is huge. Thanks.
And I really appreciate you saying this, Aaron. If you're not getting responses from somebody that you've had some type of engagement with, then like own that, right? Say, okay, it's like, how can I own that? Because if I take accountability for that, then that means that I can improve that. Well, if they're not responding to what you're writing, then write something better. If they're not responding to your text, then write a better text. If they're not responding to that, then send a video. How did you open the conversation? How'd you close the conversation? How engaging is the communication? Did you send something personal about an event that's happening at a cool farmer's market or music in the park or whatever it is? And so that's our responsibility. If I'm not getting somewhere with you in a coaching session, then I'm fucking doing the wrong thing. I'm asking the wrong questions, right? So own that and say, how can I take accountability to be better for them? And once I own that, then I can say, you know what, it's up to me. It's up to me, right? And you're going to have those people that are jerks. We're all going to experience that. But if we own that, we don't shift blame. We say, okay, I'm going to make this conversation better. So good stuff, Aaron. Let's go, Haroon, and then we'll shift gears right into the market. And Morgan, I don't know, is it her birthday? Is it your birthday? Is it somebody's birthday? Are we celebrating today? What's going on? Or is that an old decoration that's just been up for a minute?
It's my son's birthday today.
Awesome. And is that your son or is that your baby girl?
Baby girl.
Okay. All right. Well, happy birthday to your son. Okay. And hi, baby girl. All right, Haroon, hit him, big dog. What's up? What's on your mind?
Yeah, so I agree with the whole approach as well, because I feel like when I was getting mentored, or I'm still getting mentored, but before I even got my license, I feel like if, let's say, Peter was my mentor, if he was just like oh, have you got your license yet? Have you got your license yet? Have you got your license yet? I'd be like, yeah, I'm trying, but I wouldn't really know what to do. Like, I'd be kind of lost. But he constantly checked in. The team constantly checked in. They're like, oh, you do this, do that, do this. So constantly thinking about me and trying to help me is a lot different than just asking for something. And I also feel from like a buyer or seller's perspective, if you're like, oh yeah, let me know, have you found this? Have you found that? I feel like they'll feel like everything's on their hands and they have to do everything and all the work versus you. If you're like, let me know, they're like, oh, what's your job then? Or you just here to take the money? So I feel like when you go into it more as in like actually helping them, trying to secure a good place where, because again, the house is a big purchase. So if you're actually trying to help them instead of just making money, they're gonna be more than happy to work with you.
Man, really smart and astute, contribution, man. And Haroon is very, very new to this industry. He just literally got his license a couple of weeks ago, but it's really good to hear you thinking this way and thinking about how can I be best for them. So really great stuff. And, there's examples of people on this call, like Francine's in our world. She's actually a friend. She's been studying for her license for a couple months now and finally got her license. But I look back at some of our communication. It was like, how can I help her throughout that journey, right? What's a coaching tip that I can give her, regardless of what brokerage she lands at? I don't really care because my job as a coach is to help this industry. And so I really appreciate you saying that, Haroon. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up my screen right now. And I want to share something with you. And in no way, shape, or form is this going to be braggadocious. What I want to do is I want you guys to go back and I want you to reflect on what your priorities are, being very, very proactive in your business. If I think about my priorities, it is coaching, one-on-one group coaching, company initiatives and company meetings, and then obviously attracting more people into this organization. Well, I told myself I was going to take today off. Well, I didn't. And what I did in reverse is I went hard on my schedule. And as you can see, today I have all the appointments in red are mine. And so for today, I have 15 appointments. So 15 appointments from now until 6 o'clock today. I'm not stressed. I'm not worried. I have everything ready because I know that tomorrow I'm off with Lily. Friday I'm off, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday is a holiday. So I'm going to take that day off. So I made sure that the things that are priority in my life and in my schedule were all reflected today, right? Like I'm going to work full tilt today. And so if I'm asking you guys to fill up your calendar, to prioritize, to get in front of as many people as you can, I want to be a walking example of that. I want to be a walking example of that for you guys, because if I can do it with the family, with the team, with everything that's going on in my life, you guys can do that as well. There should be no time where you found yourself just in idle if you don't have a very productive business right now. Take the idle time, take time for yourself, recoup, do all the things that you need to do. But if you're in grind season right now, you should be out there super, super active. And if you don't have shit going on, get yourself a new pair of shoes and start hitting the pavement and start knocking on doors and go to the content booth and start creating tons of content. You guys, let's get right into the market conversation. So I wanted to share that with you. I know you guys think that I'm crazy with my schedule, and some days I absolutely am. So I want you guys to go to the Bay Area weather report. And if you haven't watched the weather report, make sure to do this. And a couple things, I'm just going to unmute my quick or take my mic up. All right, so here's what I want to do. I timestamp a couple things because, sorry, let me turn on this, share my audio. All right. So what I did is I timestamped a couple of these things because we're not all in the Bay Area, so I won't belabor this because I want to make sure that this is applicable to everyone on this call and people that will see this in the future. But if you look here at 17 seconds, now I'm going to turn this up and I'm going to go right to 17 seconds. Here's something that is really glaring if we look at year-over-year data. So let's get right into this.
They reached a 4-year high during April. More supply.
So in April, in the Bay Area, we hit a 4-year high for supply, which is absolutely incredible. Now, oftentimes when people think that you have more supply, that's going to drive sales down. Well, the numbers do not say that. They say the reverse. Numbers are still climbing. Depending on where the homes are, numbers are still climbing, prices are still going up.
Supply didn't push down prices. The median in the East Bay during April topped 1.2 million. More homes on the market meant more homes sold compared with last April. Let's look at local markets.
And let's go to number, where are we at? 33. I just want to give you some examples of some things that are happening in the market, and then we'll get right over to you guys.
Homes for sale, mostly up. Berkeley, Castro Valley, Hayward, all up 20% or more. Oakland up more than 40%. Prices also mostly up. Fremont, 1.8 million, up more than 20%.
So here's something, like, look at that. So it said here on the first, here, let me go back one.
Fremont, 1.8 million, up more than 20%. Prices also mostly up. Fremont, 1.8 million, up more than 20%. Union, percent. Prices also mostly up for more than 40%.
So if you look at Oakland, for example, Oakland is up 41% for homes for sale year over year, right? And I'm just taking that because that's where headquarters is at.
Prices,
but look at the prices. So even though we're in a very, very competitive time, there's more inventory. You would think that prices would go down. It's not. And why? There's more buyers right now. Our lead count for every single lead source that we have has gone up. The expected lead allocation for the next 30 to 60 days, that number's going up. If you talk to our lender partners on the call, what they're receiving, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ashley, and our lender partners, but they're receiving even more applications right now. And what's happening? Well, it's going to be summertime. So you have to think about schools, where we going, where do we want to land? Do we want to get in a home by September? So there's going to be a huge influx of buyers over the next couple months. And let's continue on this conversation.
also mostly up. Fremont, 1.8 million, up more than 20%. Union City, 1.5 million. Sales up almost everywhere. Fremont, 88 sold, up more than 70%. West Contra Costa County is next. Homes for sale, mostly up. El Cerrito, double compared with last April. Hercules and Richmond both up at least 40%. Prices mixed. El Cerrito, 1.3.
I want you guys to look at El Cerrito. We talked about El Cerrito last week. What an incredible jump year over year to be at a 22% increase year over year from last April. This is incredible to see, especially if you're thinking about, well, where am I going to go door knocking? Where are some opportunities? Where can I go find these hot markets that I might be able to find somebody that's thinking about selling that has never considered it? But now when we know that the prices are so high in these markets, that's a big difference. Right? It's a big difference in the consumer conversations that you're having, knowing the data and being able to speak intelligently about what's happening and being able to say, oh, it's a good time to buy, it's a good time to sell. Well, you have to understand what's behind that and be able to articulate that in a way that's an elegant message, just like Steve Jobs said at the beginning of our presentation today.
More than 20%. San Pablo, 635, down almost.
And let's go over to, I'm going to end right here. Let's go to the Delta.
In the Delta. Homes for sale up everywhere. Oakley and Pittsburgh both up more than 50%. Prices mixed. Discovery Bay at 930. Sales mixed. Brentwood 79 sold, up almost 60%.
So look at up 58% year over year is Brentwood. And so the reason I'm sharing this with you guys is we want to make sure that you guys understand, what's happening in your local markets, but being able to take this information and say, who needs to hear this? Why do they need to hear this? And how can I convey this information in a way that consumers really, really hang on to this data? So I'm going to turn the mic back over to you guys. And all right, so let's go back into this. So I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear a quick update. What are you experiencing? What are the nuances? What are the patterns? What are the conditions? And like Cynthia said, let's do some popcorn style around the table. Who wants to give me a brief market update, what they're experiencing, what they're seeing in their local area? You're writing offers, you're showing homes, you're talking to listing agents, you're understanding the flow, what's happening, demand, all these things. You guys are the foot soldiers. So I want to hear from you. And listen, I need 4 more people in the queue. I need 4 more people. And listen, if you have never done this before, do it. I want to encourage you because this is hard, but I want it to be hard here versus being in front of your consumer. So I have Otis, and I'm going to pause. And I'm going to get 4 more people in the queue. Who's up next after Otis? And don't let it be all of our usual suspects. So Mel, thank you. Otis. Now let's go 2 other people that have never done this before. Cool. Darnell, you're up. I'm going to you. You're up. And then last but not least, I'm going to go somebody that's brand. All right, we'll go Chris. And then let's go Haroon. Haroon. Listen, you don't have to have perfect answers. I just want you to give me an idea if what I'm up against as a consumer. So Otis, let's go rapid fire, big dog. Let's hear from you.
This is good knowledge firsthand before we start, because this is something of value that I could give to my buyers that were currently in contract. That's the reason why we went 0 for 12, because we were looking at El Cerrito and we were looking in Richmond areas, and you can see why we got beat out. Even in Oakland right now, with them being up over 40%, it's good to let them know, like, hey, year over year, you guys made a solid investment. And I know it's a little higher that you guys wanted, and there's some repairs, but you guys made a great deal. In this case, I could use this with you too, Elias. Are these some of the areas that you're looking to possibly to purchase in the next few months?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, perfect. Well, that's just to let you know that I told you all that, because it's going to let you know that we could be on for a hell of a ride, or we could, come up with a great game plan. Even looking at a city that's nearby that's maybe taking a little bit decline, it doesn't mean that the areas are bad or anything like that. It's just meaning that some people are looking in a little bit hotter areas, maybe around the block, down the street, a couple miles away. But they're all great areas, and we can all look and contest to see exactly if we're not going to be catching it. If we're catching a couple of L's, maybe we can draw a little line on our box to the left or to the right or down to the left, so where we can figure out that it's still in that desired area, just not where you want it to be exactly. But there's really a plethora of ways that we can approach this, just as long as you stay with me and you stay loyal with me, because I just don't want you to feel at certain points that I'm not delivering. It's just the market, and that's just the way that we're going to have to play it. So with that being said, would there be any other cities that you might be interested in, if somehow that we might go into this not catching what we want?
Yeah, I love that. And we'll pause and we'll get out of character, but being able to look at, geographically where the consumer's looking, if there's new builds in that area, then that's what you're a student of. Is there any new builds? Is there a new Taylor Morrison that is 7 miles out, that is still right next to the freeway? It's a beautiful property. There's 3 stories. It's amazing. Like, maybe they never thought about that because they wanted to be on the hill. They wanted to have the views of the bay. But there's a new Taylor Morrison that's offering concessions that's going to help buy down this interest rate. There's so many opportunities. And so I love that Otis is like opening their mind to other possibilities, other cities, and other demographics. So really good stuff. I appreciate that. And always spoken like a G. Great stuff. Let's go, Melody. You're on deck, and then Darnell, and then Chris. So Melody, hit them with it. What are you experiencing? What are you seeing? How are you communicating right now to a consumer?
Yeah, so a couple of things. Doing the Play Bigger buyer presentation workshop, just finishing that up, the 4-week training was extremely valuable for me because it taught me how to articulate my value proposition to the buyers that I'm working with right now we wrote an offer on a property in Montclair Hills. And it also helped that I was able to build strong rapport with the listing agent from the very beginning. And so that's what I'm working on right now. And that's, building relationship with the listing agent from the first conversation, like finding any common ground. And then as far as offers go, the home that we wrote on in Montclair Hills was listed at $899,000, believe it or not. Those homes go all the way up to 1.2, all the way up to 3 million. And so it was a very hard market to try to gauge on how high offers were going to go. Unfortunately, we didn't get the offer accepted, but it was us and one other offer. Right? So we're in the peak of summer selling season. I feel like there should have been more offers on that house. It was listed at a great price, but it was only me and one other offer. So I feel like it's not as hot as previous summers, in my personal opinion, but I still do think that there is multiple offers happening. And then even more than that in some microclimates like Brentwood, seeing that weather report, 79%, like it crazy. Those homes are getting 10, 20 offers on them sometimes. So it's totally different from market to market.
So let's go back to the Montclair property. How are you having the communication with your consumers about appraisal? Are you advising, like, what's that advising for your client? Are they removing their appraisal contingency? Do they have money to cover it? Where's the money coming from? How are you broaching that conversation with your consumer, knowing that it's going to put them in some cases, well out of, appraised value?
Yeah, so basically we wrote a 14-day close at 120,000 over asking. We removed the inspection contingency and the loan contingency. We kept an 8-day appraisal contingency for that reason exactly, because the home was not updated since the 1920s. So it was the original home. And it was going to be very hard to compare it to the other more modern $1.5 million homes on that street. So that's why I kept that. And the buyers really liked that because I said, listen, we only really need one contingency as our insurance policy to back out if we need to. Let's go ahead and waive the other two up front to show the sellers how serious we are and that we don't want to haggle. We don't want to waste anyone's time. We really want this house. Right. And then the 14-day close, I thought would be very appealing to them. However, the listing agent did express that the property had about $30,000 worth of termite work. So we asked for a $30,000 credit towards my client's closing costs because their closing costs were going to be $31,225 exactly. So I think that's the reason why our offer was not accepted. Because we asked for that closing cost credit, unfortunately.
So I want you to flip the script here and put yourself in the position of the listing agent. Like if somebody's writing that offer and it's well over asking price, but they're still keeping their appraisal contingency in, do you think that that's the strongest offer? What would you do as the listing agent? Because I'm looking at this like, all right, that's like a front. Right? It's like you remove your other contingencies. You wrote $150,000 over asking, but you still have an out if we don't get an appraisal back. So as a listing agent, how would you have viewed that offer?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would have probably countered back and said, waive your appraisal contingency. I would have probably countered back and said, here's a $15,000 credit instead of a $30,000 credit. You know, since he did express to me, we actually ran into each other when I was closing up at the property, and he expressed to me that he was showing it to his own buyers and that there was $30,000 worth of termite damage. So he was hoping we weren't VA, which we were, but I switched them to conventional so that that wouldn't matter. So it kind of, that information that he gave us that I used in our offer kind of shot us in the foot a little bit. But besides the point, the appraisal thing, yeah, you're right. It probably wasn't the smartest approach. Next time, I think I should probably powwow around that a little bit more.
Yeah, but good stuff and like really good contribution, Mel. And I'm always trying to think about it in both sides. Like, man, does that? How would I look at that as a listing agent, right? Knowing that they still have the out, or have I communicated with my buyer to say, hey, if there is a shortfall, where's that money coming from, and what can you cover, and how much? Like, are you willing to lose this house for 100,000, 200,000, or how bad do you want to live in this community? So good job, Mel. So fingers crossed that we get them, across the finish line. Let's go over to Darnell, then we'll go Chris, and then Haroon, and then DB if we have the time. So let's go Darnell. Great stuff, Mel.
Right on, right on. Well, I said it before, Elias, and I'll say it again. We lean on the team over here. I may have been out of the country for the last 2 months, but it doesn't mean I haven't stayed informed. And I understand that you may be looking at a certain price point and getting the best house at that established price point. But by talking to a lot of my teammates, I'm understanding that the buyer's competition is escalating out here and people are throwing hundreds of thousands of dollars over asking. So it's not only that, but safe to assure that with this uptick in homes being for sale and home prices going up year over year, you'll be able to receive that generational wealth and put yourself in a good equity position around the corner. But
all right, I like where you're going with this. I really do. And let's think about this. Let's think about an average annual appreciation on an $800,000 house, probably roughly around 40 G's. I'm not doing the math, but even though they're going to potentially overspend in some markets, and it's not the same in all markets across the Bay Area, Sacramento, and the Central Valley, it's different. But in the case that they are overspending, if they're not planning on moving out of that house in the next 5 years, and this is where they're going to start building and raising their family, then it makes sense. If they're planning on moving to Southern California in 3 years, spending $200,000 over asking price makes no sense at all. And I'm going to advise against that. And maybe you should just go buy a condo, right? So it's like, you have to look at what their long-term goals are. And if there is no desire to want to move within the next 5 years, overspending based on, how competitive it is, it makes sense sometimes. But Darnell, I appreciate you sharing that and like that context and letting them know that also that you're still up to speed and leveraging the team and the insights of the team. So good stuff. Let's go Chris B, and then Haroon, and then DB if we have time. So Chris, veteran in the industry, let's hear from you, big dog. What are you experiencing? What are you saying to your consumers right now?
Basically, there's a lot of trepidation and worry, from consumers and buyers. If you look at the stats, like credit card debt has gone exponentially higher this year for everybody because of inflation. I bought my son a Carl's Jr. Superstar meal, $16. You know what I mean? For a damn Superstar meal. When I remember that show was like $6 when I was growing up. So,
16?
Yeah, $16 for value now. So, that's just what it is. That's just the way we're living. People are worried. A lot of trepidation. I'm having buyers come to me like, oh, rates went up, and it's been kind of wonky. I remember a couple of months ago, rates hit 8, and it just like kind of froze, and then it got back into the 7s. And then I know recently, maybe a week or so ago, it had a 1-day drop and got back into 6s, and now it's creeping up. So there's so much, movement in there. So it's our job because, people, not everybody, we're professionals. We got to lead them to the water. We can't, you got to give them a game plan. You can't have that tone where you're like, yeah, rates are high. It is expensive, blah, blah, blah. You got to just be like, here's a situation, inventory is low, demand is high. Now's the opportunity. Rates are projected to drop because it's going to have to eventually. So get in now. And with the buyers, there's a lot of trepidation. So it's our job to lead them with facts and paint the actual perfect picture and the actual game plan. You let them know, like, so here's my game plan for you. I know you feel this way, but here's what needs to happen. Here's what's going on right now. And here's what I'm seeing in my local market. And then I give them a couple examples of what I've done for my past buyers and sellers. If you don't have those examples, lean on your team and get some examples of the team wins to use that as your own. That's why we're all here. There's a lot of emotions involved. A lot of people are struggling right now, but there are people that are in the market, they want to buy a home. So you just got to give them peace of mind and clarity and show them the actual game plan of what you're going to do to get them there and handle
I love
it. As far as sellers here in Sacramento, we still have not as much inventory as we like. And I have a handful of sellers that want to sell and either move up to a bigger house or downsize to a single story. The problem is I can't find their property right now. So that for those people, I've actually was successful in having one person list their property and do a long-term rent back to find a house. You can make it contingent upon the seller find a replacement property. You have rent backs. In my experience, it shouldn't take more than 2 to 3 months to get them in a property if you have their home you're listing in escrow. So it's pretty much, it's pretty much just, just leading the way as a professional and painting that game plan for them that they could vividly see and handle the objections and to be a realist, but, in a tactful and professional manner. People want to be led. People want to be led. That's the bottom line. So
that's why they use us, right? That's why they need us, is that they need someone that's going to lead them through this whole entire process. And, if we're thinking about this, we're talking about over asking price, so on and so forth. Well, if the average consumer in most markets is paying $3,500 a month for rent, and I'm being conservative, and we times that by 12, well, in 1 year, that's $42,000 in rent that they're paying. Let's just say you do that for the next 3 years. Well, that's $126,000 that they are spending on rent. Well, let's just take the average annual appreciation on a home. Let's go 800,000, and let's times that by, let's say, I'll be conservative, a 5% annual appreciation. Now, once again, I'm being conservative. Let's take that 40,000 times 3 equals 120,000. And let's plus that original number of $126,000, right? So now we're at $246,000. Now, if you eliminate them paying rent, that means that more money's going back into them building. Now, even if they overpaid on the house, if they're not thinking about moving within the next 3 years and they're looking at holding on to this property, that means 4 or 5 years, their family's in positive equity, right? They're positive equity. They're no longer spending that money. So when I think about $246,000, when it comes conversation time to potentially pay over, well, I'm fearful that I'm getting into a bad investment. Right? That's what their fear is going to be. So we have to share examples like this and help them understand that you're already throwing away the money. You're going to have positive equity over the next couple of years because the homes are going to appreciate. and I'm just being very, very conservative. So being able to help them understand the consequences as well as the advantages of them purchasing a house, especially if they're paying well over asking price. So you guys, I want to break there. Haroon, we'll get to you next time. Damian, we'll go to you next time. But I want to hear from one person. Francine, I had a guest here. Francine, can you put yourself on camera really quick? I don't know if you're busy. I just want to hear one key takeaway from you today, Francine, and thanks for being here as a guest.
Apply what you learn immediately, and knowledge becomes part of you.
Ooh, yes. Yes. I love that. I love that.
Just use your what was that quote where you said, where was it? It was, I found these properties, or I found these and I was thinking of you. I literally just sent out 10 new listings to a prospect that I met over the weekend at an open house. So yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. You guys, listen, really great contributions today. Thank you for all of your insight, contribution, and listen, thank you for your time. I appreciate you being here no matter what. You got other things to do, but you trust me enough to come here, and I'll never discount that. So you guys, thank you. As always, keep it moving towards your dreams, goals, and vision, and go out there and crush your day. Peace.